What's up, guys? We are back for episode number 3 of the Bullspit podcast. Looking forward to previewing the Duluth, Georgia PBR Team Series event this weekend. We're going to jump into a top 5 rider rankings, top 5 team rankings, and we usually do a top 3 matchups, but this weekend is loaded. So we're going to do top 5 matchups of the week also. And then we're going to get into every single game over the weekend, 12 total, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the winners of each of those. Come Monday, we'll see how dumb of an idea that was. But looking forward to getting to it. It's been a little bit of waiting after a week off. They did have some events up in Montana and, of course, at Cheyenne Frontier Days. And we'll touch on that a little bit here also. Looking forward to getting to it. To start things out, let's touch on some storylines from week 1 in the PBR Team Series weekend in Oklahoma, the Wildcatter days. So some big ones. Obviously, Carolina showed that they mean business, going 2-0, putting up a score of 440 plus points. It was ridiculous. All those guys can go 90 at any time. Really looking forward to see how they continue this season. They don't want to just be a one-hit wonder. Also, the new franchises, Oklahoma and New York. New York goes 0 for 3. Disappointing to say the least. But we'll see what Cody Lostro and them have in store for us this weekend. Starts out with a tough matchup against the Gamblers, who also started out for an 0 for 2 to start this first week of the season. And it's a battle of the winless, and we're going to see who comes out on top. And then, of course, the Oklahoma Wildcatters showed the home crowd what they were made of, going 2-1. The one loss to an Arizona team that's undefeated, and lost on maybe one more second on the Bull, and they would have had that probably. But looking forward to seeing how they keep that momentum going. Lots of young, hungry guys there, and of course JB Mooney leading them. Really looking forward to seeing how that goes. To start out at number 5, we're going to go with the Florida Freedom team that moved from Oklahoma to Florida in the offseason. Coach Paulo Krimber taking over there, and number 1 draft pick John Krimber getting selected by the Florida Freedom in this past year's draft. They have a lot of young and hungry guys, Caden Bunch being one. That guy, since he stepped on the tour this year, you could tell that this kid is special. I think he only gets better. And very exciting. They lose a heartbreaker to the Carolina Cowboys, who again, scored 440 plus points. But that's tough to beat. Florida put up great numbers, but just didn't quite have enough. Couldn't go bull for bull with them, and also the higher scores. But then they come back the next day and pull a resilient win out. So they go 1-1. They're going to start out at number 5 in this week's power rankings. At number 4 in the team power rankings, we are going to go with Oklahoma Wildcatters. They showed up and showed out in Oklahoma in front of their home crowd. JB Mooney leading those guys. Court McFadden and Clay Guyton really showed that they can be pillars for that team. They can build around that, and they still have a lot of guys that haven't even touched their potential. So looking forward for them to continue this season. We'll see if they're mature enough for the endurance of the season. It's a long season here till October, but I bet JB Mooney has them ready. Number 3 in our team power rankings, we're going with the Kansas City Outlaws. They show up on the first week and go 2-0. Maybe not anything spectacular, but Casio Diaz, PBR world champion, he is their closer, and he always shows up. And of course, we're not going to forget about Colton Hevelo, who has started out at number 1 spot for them this year, and he showed up. So great opener, great closer. We'll see how the middle of that order goes, but those 2 guys right there already are pretty reliable. You can count on them to go 87, 88 on any bowl. They showed up, they took care of business, and we'll see if they can elevate off that this week. Number 2 in the team power rankings, we are going with the Arizona Ridge Riders. They proved me wrong last week. Didn't even have them in the top 5 to start the season. Just really wasn't sure where they were going to get that superhero type guy that's going to be out there giving you 95-point rides. but they have a strong team. Nick Tetz at the start has been a great starter for them, capitalizing. I think he rode 2-0 last week in his Bulls to start off. And of course, you have Keyshawn Whitehorse last week that had a rewrite opportunity and sealed the deal for them to beat Oklahoma. And it was a great weekend for them. Tip of the hats, number 2 in this week's power rankings. And at number 1, no surprise, obviously, we're going with Carolina Cowboys. This team showed out in Oklahoma, full team effort. I feel like any of these guys can go 90 at any given time. It's as simple as that. They have the champions. Derek Calboba is hungry, coming back from his injury. And I look forward to seeing if Adriano Salgado can keep it going after that 93-point ride last week. It's all exciting. They have some great matchups this week. They're going to be facing off the Gamblers, the Outlaws, and I'm sure they're going to be in some of our top matchups. We talked about the teams. Now let's get into the rider rankings, our top 5 rider rankings for this coming week. And, look at this more as a power rankings based off of what happened in week 1. And at number 5, I had to put him in, someone that I've been a fan of for a while now, Court McFadden, getting traded over to the Oklahoma Wildcatters in the offseason from the Austin Gamblers, someone that I was really sad to see go. I didn't think that he really had hit his potential yet. Seemed that he might have kind of plateaued a little bit there, but he's a fighter. He's a Texas boy. And he has shown up for the Wildcatters and JV Mooney. I look forward to keep that momentum going for him and really see how far this guy can go. We go from Court McFadden, more of a newer face in the PBR. Someone that's still trying to get established. And then our number 4 ranking is going to go to Cooper Davis. He's been there, he's done that, and he showed up for team season, decided to take time off from individual season, and he's going to focus on this team series and winning a championship. And it seems like he's done that. I don't know what he was doing in the off season, but that's a guy of many talents, and he's a great bull rider. Really the opener for the Carolina Cowboys. I see him continuing his success and really being a staple for that team. And at number 3, we're going to go with Cooper Davis' teammate, Sage Kimzey. He has been their closer this year. And the way that he closed out the PBR World Finals and winning that event, he's continued that momentum. It's really exciting to watch. He did great, had a 91-point ride in their first matchup last weekend, and then took a re-ride bull, just took the score for that one in his second attempt. But he's going to continue to close for them. It's really, if you want to put money on some people that are going to ride a bull for you when you need it, he's up there. So he's at number 3 this week. At number 2, we are going to go with the number 1 draft pick from this past year, John Krember. He finished number 2 in the world standings this past year in the UTB season. He is the first draft pick, has a ton of pressure on him, and his first matchup, he comes out, does what he does, rides, maybe nothing crazy, nothing fancy, but he gets it done. And he comes out here in the second game, gets another bull road. It was a rewrite score that they took after the match was decided. But there's nothing telling me he's stopping. He had some great momentum up at the last Cowboy Standing events also. So we'll see what happens, but I bet he would show up. And at number 1, we are going to go with Casio Diaz, the reigning PBR world champion. He is the closer for the Kansas City Outlaws, an undefeated team right now. Again, they might not be, fireworks, maybe like Carolina or Florida, but they get it done. They have some staples in there with Colton Hevelo and Casio Diaz being the closer. They're going to continue their success. Casio Diaz is going to continue his success. He's a special guy. All right, guys. Now let's get into our top 5 matchups of this week. I'm going to go through each matchup, and I'm going to point on my top 5 as I go through them. But starting out tonight, night 1, first game, Texas Rattlers versus the Florida Freedom. Again, the Texas Rattlers are the reigning champions. Florida Freedom, they show up with their young guns last week or 2 weeks ago, and showed that they know what they're doing. They are a team that's going to be contending. They are for real. I'm going to go ahead and take the Florida Freedom in this one. Just too many fireworks. Texas Rattlers, reigning champions for a reason. I think we got to see some more consistency from those guys, though, before I'm ready to commit to them. Matchup number 2 for Friday is going to be the New York Mavericks versus the Austin Gamblers. 2 winless teams. I had to put this one at number 5 in my top 5 matchups of the weekend because I feel like it's almost a dire. I know it's only second weekend, but 0-2 and 0-3, those you can't do that. You're going to get behind fast. I look for the Gamblers to show up. They have the team, again, starting with Dalton Castle. You have Kayeke Pacheco and, Jose Vitor Leme to close it out. That team has to show up. It's still molding, it seems like that. I really hope they give Ezekiel Mitchell some shots this weekend after his win at the last Cowboys Standing event. Big fan of that guy. And, I look for Austin to pull that out. Number 3 for Friday is going to be the Stampede versus the Outlaws. Nashville, it wasn't a terrible first weekend. They finished 1-2. They can do better, though. I expect Justin McBride to have them ready. Jess Lockwood needs to step up. The Outlaws, though, they're that team. Again, it's like a well-oiled machine. I'm going to take the Kansas City Outlaws, Colton Hevelo and Casio Diaz. Those 2 rides might be enough. And to close out Friday night, you have a barn burner. It's going to be my number 1 matchup of the weekend, so tune in. Carolina Cowboys versus the Arizona Ridge Riders. Number 1 and 2 in my power rankings. Again, Carolina put up big points with their superstars. Ridge Riders are kind of a different team. Maybe a little bit more of a under the radar riders, but they're gonna show up. They're ready for battle. It's gonna be awesome. I could see this being a 300+ point scoring game for each of them. I'm gonna go with Carolina winning. Saturday matchups, we're gonna start out with another great one. It's gonna be my number 4 matchup of the weekend. Number 4, Carolina Cowboys versus the Austin Gamblers. The Gamblers, again, this is a team that should be up there competing with the Cowboys. Week 1 did not look like that. We'll see what this week looks like. I expect the Gamblers to perform, but I think Carolina is going to be able to just have maybe those better bull rides or more bull rides. The Gamblers have to get something more than just Castle and Lemme at the end. We got to have something in the middle to be able to compete. So I'm going to go with Carolina to win that one. And our second matchup on Saturday is just as good as the first one. It's going to be my number 2 matchup of the weekend. Florida Freedom versus Kansas City Outlaws. I love the dynamics in this one. Really excited to see John Crimber against, Casio Diaz. They just battled for that world title. There's no storyline there, but isn't it fun to think about? I mean, number 1 versus number 2 leading their teams against each other in the team series. It's going to be good. I'm going to pick the Florida Freedom to take that one, actually. I expect their young guns to show up, and maybe John Crimber closes it out with a 90+ bull ride. Florida to take that one over the Outlaws. Game number 3 on Saturday is going to be the Oklahoma Wildcatters versus the Missouri Thunder. 2 teams that really can compete well against each other. I feel like they stack up pretty well. Oklahoma had some better success in week 1. We will see if Clay Guyton and Court McFadden can continue with their success. We will also have on the other side Missouri Thunder. They're really looking for they need a full team effort. Briggs Madsen did great, and I expect him to do that. He's shown up in team series in years past also. Really excited to see that. I'm gonna go with JB Mooney and the Oklahoma Wildcatters on that. I think they just seem to be a little bit more consistent and really know what they're wanting. Close out night number 2. We got the Texas Rattlers versus the Arizona Ridge Riders. I mean, I keep picking against the Rattlers. I feel like they're due. They're going to win some of these games. Arizona showed up in week 1, though. I'm going to see if they continue that success. We'll see what happens in night 1, of course, and how they bounce back from that. But I'm going to go with Arizona to beat the Texas Rattlers. Nick Tett starting things off. Keyshawn Whitehorse doing great. To start out day 3, we're going with the 2 expansion teams, the New York Mavericks versus the Oklahoma Wildcatters. I don't want to pick against Oklahoma, but New York Mavericks are going to get it done sometime. I'm going to say they get their first win against the Oklahoma Wildcatters on Sunday. We'll see if those guys can show up. Really, again, they have injuries. They had travel issues and things like that. This team's going to get better, and let's see them get their first win on Sunday. Matchup number 2 on Sunday is going to be the Texas Rattlers versus the Nashville Stampede. Here's where I finally picked the Rattlers. They have the team. They've been there last year and competed and won that championship. And it's a long season. They're going to show up. I'm going to go with the Rattlers to beat the Stampede. Hopefully we can see some more consistency, though, on the Stampede side also. Matchup number 3 for Sunday is the Missouri Thunder versus the Arizona Ridge Riders. Arizona's going to be throwing some haymakers this weekend, really trying to go toe-for-toe with Carolina in Game 1. Texas Rattlers won't be easy to put away either. On Saturday, going against a Missouri Thunder team that's hungry, I'm going to give Missouri the edge on this one, see if they can pull that out for kind of a little upset there on Sunday. And the last matchup of the weekend is going to be my number 3 matchup of the entire weekend, actually. It's going to be the Kansas City Outlaws versus the Carolina Cowboys. Really pitting 2 great teams together. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see their coaches compete, and J.W. Hart and Jerome Davis, two very respected individuals in the bull industry. And it's going to be a great one to end the weekend. For some reason, I'm feeling KC. I feel like on a Sunday afternoon, Casio Diaz is going to pull out all his stops, maybe give us a high 90 ride and wave us off into the sunset with his Lane Frost waves. I'm going to go with KC over Carolina to end the weekend. Folks, it has been a good time. I appreciate y'all bullspitting with me. Get your favorite drink, kick back, enjoy the show. It's going to be this weekend at the PBR Team Series in Duluth, Georgia. Remember to download Merritt Street Media so that you can have access to all of these events. Again, you can download that on any smartphone, any smart TV, Merritt Street Media. Get that for all your PBR events for the rest of this season. Again, follow the socials, follow along this weekend. I'll be touching base with y'all and giving y'all some updates after tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. And then, of course, on Monday, we'll have a recap show, talk about all the things that happened in this weekend, and see how all of our picks went, how all of our rider rankings went, and how all of our team rankings went. I look forward to seeing y'all then. Until then, see